Chapter 43 to 45. As Frieza's gaze fell upon Krillin. Krillin reciprocated, his gaze sweeping over Frieza and his Ginyu Force. His eyes, for a fleeting moment, held an air of indifference. "Frieza," he began, his voice steady and calm. "I'm not sure how you managed to resurrect yourself, but I suggest you leave Earth. Otherwise, I'll ensure your demise here once again." Krillin's words were icy, yet brimming with confidence and authority. His power had grown exponentially, far surpassing that of Frieza. Over a decade ago, the mere sight of Frieza would have sent shivers down his spine. But now, Frieza was of little concern to him. Even if Cell were to be revived, Krillin was confident he could handle it. What? Frieza, taken aback, stared at Krillin in disbelief. The once timid Earthling from Namek, who used to tremble in his presence, was now challenging him. The world, it seemed, had turned upside down. Grit. After a moment of surprise, Frieza gritted his teeth in anger. To him, Krillin was nothing more than an insignificant ant. How dare he address him in such a manner? It seemed that these Earthlings had forgotten the terror of him, the Universal Emperor Frieza. It was time to remind them. "Ji-san, Berta-san," Frieza commanded, "take care of this little Earthling. As for Goku's son, leave him to me." At Frieza's feet was a frog, none other than the once glorious Captain Ginyu, who now seemed to have fallen out of favor. "Understood," Frieza-sama, Gis and Berta responded, stepping forward with a fierce glint in their eyes. They were eager to unleash their power on this insignificant planet. It has been a long time since they experienced the thrill of killing Goten. Krillin turned to his comrade. "Leave Frieza and his minions to me. I have a score to settle with Frieza." Krillin's words were filled with determination. Over a decade ago on Namek, Frieza had been his worst nightmare. But things were different now. The once invincible Universal Emperor was now within his reach. It was time to settle old scores. "All right, I'll leave it to you," Goten nodded, understanding Krillin's desire to test his newfound power and settle his past with Frieza. "Feel the fear of hell," Earthling, Geis and Berta roared, charging towards Krillin. To them, Krillin was nothing more than a helpless lamb, ready to be slaughtered. But as they lunged forward, Krillin's figure suddenly appeared before them. Without a moment's hesitation, he unleashed 2 energy balls, obliterating them instantly. What? No, impossible. Ji-sama and Berta-sama were actually killed by that Earthling. The galactic soldiers behind Frieza watched in horror as Ji-sama and Berta, each with a power level of around 50,000, were annihilated by Krillin. This was beyond their comprehension, sending waves of fear coursing through them. They realized they were no match for this Earthling. Frieza, too, was taken aback. The once insignificant Earthling had grown powerful enough to annihilate Geese and Berta in an instant. No wonder he had been so audacious. "Next, it's your turn, Frieza," Krillin declared, his eyes still indifferent. He felt no thrill in defeating Geese and Berta. Over the past decade, he had faced far more formidable opponents. The Ginyu Force was no match for him. "You, insolent Earthling," Frieza seethed. "You think you can defy me just because you've grown a bit stronger. You dare to challenge me. This time, I won't let you die easily. I'll make you suffer slowly." Frieza grinned angrily, staring at Krillin with angry eyes. It's just an insignificant insect. How dare it speak so brazenly in front of him? So today, he must let him feel what is called despair. The moment the angry voice fell, Frieza extended a finger, a scarlet energy ball forming at its tip. But before he could react, Krillin was already before him. "Return to your hell, Frieza," Krillin roared, launching a powerful punch. Frieza's face paled in shock. He had no time to react. In the next instant, his body was blasted away by Krillin's punch, disintegrating into dust. Friesissima has been defeated. The remaining soldiers watched in terror as their leader was annihilated. Panicked, they scattered in all directions. Krillin let out a sigh of relief, his body trembling slightly. He had finally defeated Frieza. This victory held great significance for him, a sentiment that Goten fully understood. Goten approached Krillin, gently patting him on the shoulder. "Are you okay?" he asked. "I'm fine," Krillin responded, a smile spreading across his face. "I just never thought I'd see the day when I could defeat Frieza." His words were filled with disbelief. Even after his transformation into an android, the thought of defeating Frieza, who had died long ago, never crossed his mind. "Now's not the time to get emotional," Goten interjected. "There's been an uproar in the other world. Many evil souls have escaped to our world and are causing chaos. We have a lot of work ahead of us." The escapees were minor threats, but their sheer numbers and the fact that they had spread across every city meant it would take some time to send them all back to hell. "Right," Krillin nodded in agreement. The two then split up, each taking on the task of sending these evil souls back to hell. Within an hour, Goten and Krillin had cleared all the evil spirits. Goten returned to their initial meeting spot, his face etched with concern. During their mission, he hadn't come across Broly's soul. Broly, who was supposedly killed by Goten himself, should logically be among the evil souls. This left Goten with two possibilities. Either Broly's vitality was incredibly tenacious, allowing him to survive the previous planet explosion, or he had resurrected in the southern quadrant of the galaxy. Either way, if Broly was still alive, it posed a significant problem. Having fused with the blood of the legendary Super Saiyan, Goten was acutely aware of Broly's potential power. Given enough time, Broly could become a formidable adversary. Whoosh! Just as Goten was lost in thought, Krillin returned. "Goten, I've sent all the evil souls on my side back to hell," he reported. "Good," Goten replied. "I think it's time to head back to Mount Paozu. I've been away for a while, and I'm sure my mum is worried. Besides, with the recent chaos and the appearance of numerous evil warriors on Earth, returning home would also ensure his mother's safety." "I'm free now, so I'll go back with you," Krillin decided. He had already upgraded himself, and had nothing important to do now. He was curious about the recent events, and hoped to learn more from Goten. Upon their return to Mount Paozu, Chi-Chi, Goten's mother, was overcome with relief. "Goten, are you okay?" she asked anxiously. "I saw on TV that many people who had died before were appearing on Earth." "Don't worry, Mom," Goten reassured her. "Krillin and I have dealt with those guys." He felt a warmth spread through him at his mother's concern. It was a comforting feeling, being cared for by his closest family. "Well, that's good. If anything were to happen to you, I wouldn't know how to go on." She had already lost Goku and Gohan. Now Goten was her sole source of hope and emotional support. If anything were to happen to Goten as well, she truly wouldn't be able to bear it. "Don't worry, Mum, I'm very strong now, nothing will happen." Goten also smiled and comforted. Relieved, Chi-Chi decided to prepare a meal for her son. "You must be starving after being away for so long. I'll cook something delicious for you. Come inside," she urged, pulling Goten into the house. She also extended the invitation to Krillin, who was pleasantly surprised by the warm welcome. To be honest, he had never been treated by Chi-Chi so nicely before. In the past, whenever he wanted to play with Goku and Gohan, he would have to sneak around in fear that Chi-Chi would find out. And after being discovered, they would inevitably be scolded. But now the treatment was completely different, and he could eat delicious food prepared by Chi-Chi. An hour later, a table full of delicacies was quickly wiped out by Goten and Krillin. Ha, so full. It's still Mum who prepares the most delicious food. Goten rubbed his engorged belly and sighed. The food cooked by Kobito was truly some dark cuisine compared to the food prepared by his mother. Hum, rumble. After a hearty meal, Goten and Krillin decided to go for a walk and discuss the recent events. However, their plans were interrupted by the familiar sound of a helicopter. Looking up, they saw a pink helicopter descending. Goten immediately realized that it was Videl who came. The helicopter quickly landed in front of Krillin and Goten, and Videl stepped down. "Isn't this Satan's daughter?" Krillin joked, looking at Goten. "It seems she is here for you. Looks like your spring is coming in." He was familiar with Videl, as her father, Satan, was a well-known figure on Earth. He had seen his broadcasts on TV. Naturally, his daughter also often appeared on TV. When Krillin and Master Roshi were together, they would often watch it. "Don't joke around." "I bet she's here to give me a hard time," Goten replied, remembering their last encounter. Goten could only sigh helplessly. After all, the last time he saw Videl, he didn't give her a good impression. "Well, I don't see it that way." Krillin shook his head. The intuition of single dogs was still very accurate. He felt that she wasn't here for a fight. While they were engrossed in their conversation, Videl walked up to Goten and Krillin. "Go Goten, long time no see." She greeted him. "Did Videlson come here to question me again?" Goten asked, a faint smile on his face. "No," Videl quickly denied. "I've come to apologize. I was too unreasonable last time. I saw you dealing with those invaders on TV, and my father also confessed everything to me. I'm sorry for misunderstanding you last time." She blushed, clearly unaccustomed to apologizing. "Okay, I accept your apology. If there's nothing else, you can go back," Goten responded, still smiling. He wasn't interested in getting involved with Videl. Videl was taken aback. She had swallowed her pride to apologize, only to be dismissed so casually. It was too much. Besides, she had come not only to apologize, but also to learn how to fly from Goten. "This guy, he really doesn't understand the concept of chivalry," she muttered under her breath. "Is there anything else you need, Videlson?" Goten asked, looking at Videl, who was visibly tense. Looking at Videl, who had clenched fists and puffed up, Goten asked again. "Yes, there is," Videl responded without hesitation. She felt Goten was being too direct. If she had told him she had nothing else to do, he would have dismissed her without a second thought. "Besides apologizing to you, I also hope that you can guide me. I noticed that you were able to fly during your previous battles. Could you teach me how to fly?" Videl asked, biting her lip and staring intently at Goten. She knew her father was incapable of such a feat. She had a righteous personality. She also wished to grow stronger and learn to be able to perform such impressive feats when fighting crime in the future. At this point, she had no choice but to swallow her pride and ask Goten for guidance. "Goten, this is a great opportunity," Krillin interjected excitedly. "I think she's interested in you. Why don't you teach her the flying technique? You might even gain a wife in the process. It's a win-win situation." The girl standing before them was adorable and cute. The girl was loaded, and although she seemed a few years older than Goten, there were definite advantages to that. If it was him, he would definitely agree without hesitation. "Why don't you teach her?" Goten retorted, glancing at Krillin. "Forget it, she probably wouldn't be interested in me." Krillin quickly dismissed the idea, showing a rare moment of self-awareness. "Goten, I'm a quick learner. You just need to explain the flying skills to me, and I can figure it out on my own, Videl interjected, looking at the two whispering men. Learning to fly would mean she wouldn't have to rely on a helicopter anymore. And when fighting crime in the future, she would be able to respond faster. Videlson, it's not that I'm unwilling to teach you the flying technique, but as your strength increases, you'll encounter more and more powerful opponents, and your risk factor will also rise. Why put yourself in danger? Goten responded seriously. Everyone faced this reality. As one's strength increased, so did the number of powerful opponents they encounter. The current Videl, at least, had the ability to protect herself and wouldn't encounter overly powerful opponents. But if she got involved with him, her safety in the future wouldn't be guaranteed. After all, there were too many powerful individuals in this world, and his strength wasn't enough to deal with those truly formidable foes. I'm not afraid, Videl immediately retorted stubbornly. Just as Goten was about to continue speaking, a familiar voice echoed in his mind. Goten, Goten, can you hear me? It was Goku's voice. Krillin, too, was taken aback. Apparently, he had also heard Goku's voice. Goten, did you hear that? That was Goku's voice just now, Krillin said excitedly. Goku's voice had suddenly appeared in his head, a voice he would never forget. It was the first time Goku had contacted him in over 8 years. Yes, I heard it, Goten confirmed. Goten, Krillin, listen to me. I'm really sorry, but an unprecedented disaster may befall Earth soon. Goku's voice was heavy and sounded weak. What's going on, Goku? Are you talking about those resurrected guys? But Goten and I sent them back to hell. Krillin asked, puzzled. If it was those guys, it wouldn't be a disaster at all. Not even close to a warm-up. It seemed Goku had been in the other world for too long and didn't know about Goten and his current strength. No, it's someone far more terrifying than those guys. Goten, Janemba, left the other world after defeating us. Daikasama said that its target seems to be Earth. Goku denied Krillin's words and then spoke very seriously to Goten. Goten was aware of Janemba's existence and knew how powerful it was. Janemba Goten raised his eyebrows slightly. Although he wasn't afraid of Janemba and was fully confident that he could easily defeat it. If this guy arrived on Earth, the situation would be less than ideal. Once such a super battle broke out on Earth, innocent people would definitely get hurt. Janemba, who's that? Krillin was at a loss. This was the first time he had heard such a strange name. That guy's strength is incomparable to Cell's. Goten, I'm so sorry, but I can only rely on you and Krillin now, Goku said in a guilty voice. If he had been strong enough, he could have dealt with Janemba directly in the other world. But unfortunately, after he became Super Saiyan 3, he was easily defeated by Janemba. He and Gohan's fusion also failed due to a synchronization error. In the end, Janemba was not eliminated. Is it that powerful? Krillin frowned. Goku's tone already indicated how powerful Janemba was. Alright, I understand. The things in the other world have nothing to do with me. But if Janemba wants to cause trouble on Earth, then I will definitely destroy him. Goten responded without blaming Goku and the others. He was very clear that Goku and the others had indeed tried their best. In the case of fusion failure, they simply couldn't stop Janemba, and there was no use blaming or complaining now. Please, Goten. Goku sighed guiltily. The cell created from their cells 8 years ago, and the super-perfect cell form that it achieved was due to their carelessness. It had been a big problem for Goten, unexpectedly. Now, Janemba was also left to Goten, to be honest. He felt really incompetent as a father, and was also very guilty.